Welcome back to the Daily Movie Recaps. Today I will show you an action thriller film from 2022 titled Pushpa, Part 1. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. In Japan it's a tradition that the groom presents expensive gifts to the bride. In those gifts a traditional banjo is very popular. The banjo is made up of red sandalwood. This type of sandalwood is only found in Sisachuan forest of India. The wood reaches Japan through China after it is smuggled out of India via Madras port. And all this done by a syndicate. Pushpa led is a part of this syndicate. We see a truck full of red sandalwood chased by police. When the truck stops, the driver gets out and it is Pushpa led. He tries to negotiate with the police. The police grab him and puts him the jeep. In the jeep he offers a hefty bribe of 1 lakh rupees per head. The police officials clear him off all charges and lets him go. A year earlier, we see a different Pushpa working in a mill, eating bread and tea, sitting legs crossed on a chair. When the boss arrives, he is disgusted by his behavior and confronts him. But Pushpa arrogantly quits his job. Impressed by Pushpa, Keshav, another laborer in the mill, follows him. Back in Pushpa's village, a moneylender, Mani, kept nagging and insulting his mother for money she must have borrowed. So Pushpa sells his buffalo and pays him back. But he also forces him to inform the entire village that he has returned his money. Next day, Pushpa is looking for work. A work that guarantees some big money. So, he gets on the truck offering 1,000 rupee for a day's work. The trucks them to the Sisachuan forest. And they start cutting some red sandalwood trees. Suddenly they see a police vehicle approaching fast. So, they stop working and try to run from the spot. But Pushpa stops them, telling them that they can't leave unpaid. A police officer named Govind Rao approaches them asking about the trees. Pushpa tells him that they were just sheep herders and know nothing about the woods. Unsatisfied with the answer, Govind tries to frighten Pushpa, but Pushpa is unmoved and threatens that the men will kill him if he harms him. One day when a day's work is done and the workers are collecting their money, a huge number of police force approaches them and asks them to surrender. The men start throwing stones at police and Pushpa loads the last of wood. He starts the truck and drives it away. After a while the police catch, but the truck nor the wood can be seen anywhere. So, they take him to the police station. They beat Pushpa to get the whereabouts of the truck full of sandalwood. But Pushpa keeps his mouth shut. A police officer asks Pushpa about his family. Pushpa recalls his childhood and how he was treated in his school by some boys. And we get to know that he is an illegitimate child. Traumatized, Pushpa develops a deformed shoulder that we could see throughout the movie. After a lot of beating, an officer takes him to the canteen. The owners of the truck, the Reddy gang of 3 brothers. The youngest was Jolly Reddy, a womanizer. Then Jagga Reddy, a sharp, intelligent, accountable man. The eldest was Konda Reddy, a merciless, bloodthirsty animal. They came to see Pushpa and ask him about the truck. Pushpa offers to tell the location of the truck if they pay him 5 lakh and also pay for his bail. They agree and do as Pushpa asked them to. Later he takes them to a small water well where he had driven the truck along with wood. Jagga, impressed, pays Pushpa in full. A disgusted Jolly refused to let them sit in the car with them. So Pushpa decides to buy a new car immediately. Keshav gets him a red car. Pushpa takes the car to his mother and they are very happy. Later Konda Reddy calls all the truck drivers for a meeting. He is furious because he has lost over 10 ton of wood to the police. Pushpa speaks up and offers to share an idea. His idea was to simply cut the milk tankers in half. Fill the lower half with wood and upper half with milk. It would look very legal and easily clear the checkposts. The operation is running very smoothly and everything seems fine. One day in the market, Pushpa sees a girl who sells milk and falls in love with her. Her name is Srivali. Meanwhile in one of the checkposts Govind checks the trucks and finds out about their operation. The drivers tell him how Pushpa planned it and Govind forces them to further share intel with him. Outside a theatre, Srivali and her friends are struggling to get tickets for a movie. Keshav offers to pay 1,000 if only she agrees to smile at Pushpa when passing by. Next day in the temple, Srivali smiles at Pushpa. Unaware of Keshav's doing, Pushpa immediately goes to propose to Srivali, who tells him everything. Furious, Pushpa catches Keshav to beat him up, but instead tells him to offer 5,000 rupees for a kiss. Next day, Srivali comes with her friends to see Pushpa. She comes and sits in the car, and Pushpa approaches to kiss her. She tells him that she will only kiss her husband and start crying. After some argument she leaves with her friends. Later we are introduced to another antagonist of the movie, Mangel Srinu. He has over 1,000 ton of sandalwood at his disposal. Trying to find a new hideout for the load, he approaches Konda Reddy. He agrees to help him and safeguard the wood for good few months. The informants tell Govind about Srinu's load in Konda Reddy's godown. So calls forces to catch Pushpa and Konda Reddy gang. Konda Reddy calls Pushpa and tells him that Govind is coming, and he asks him to dispose all the wood before the police arrive at the godown. Pushpa decides to dispose all the wood in the river and handles some money to Keshav to go to the dam operator and close the dam's water gate. And when Govind arrives at the godown, he finds only defeat. Impressed by his wits and heroics, Srinu invites Pushpa to his private party. At the party we can see all the high-profile members of the syndicate. Overhearing some people, Pushpa finds out that Srinu has been cheating. He sells 1 ton of sandalwood at 2 crores to Morgan of Chennai, but he only pays 25 lakhs to Konda Reddy. He tells the same to Konda Reddy, but Konda asks Pushpa to go and ask for a raise from Srinu. At the party, Keshav approaches Srivali's father for marriage to Pushpa, to which he agrees immediately. Pushpa and his mother goes to visit Srivali's family for marriage dates and other formalities. Pushpa's elder step-brother comes and insults his mother, which cause a little altercation during which Pushpa's mother falls and hurts her head. At the hospital, Pushpa tells Keshav how he and his mother was thrown out of their house when his father passed away, and he decides to become stronger and fearless than before. Pushpa visits Mangel Srinu at his house where Murgas, his brother-in-law, is beating Nagesh, another member of the syndicate, and kills him even when the MLA was requesting for him. Srinu asks Pushpa of his reason for visit. He says he also wants to increase the rate, but from 25 lakh to 1 crore as the risk is high, and if he doesn't pay, he will directly go to Chennai to deal with Morgan. He leaves but comes back to only call Morgan and introduces himself. Srinu's men try to attack Pushpa, but he beat all of them and leaves. Later, Pushpa goes to Chennai to see Morgan with his 10 ton of red sandalwood and gives him a sample to check the authenticity. Impressed by the quality of the product, Morgan comes and sits with Pushpa, and Pushpa tells him to directly deal with him and no middleman such as Srinu. Meanwhile, Jolly finds out that the police informant was no other than Srivali's father. He goes to see Srivali and offers her father's life if comes at night in Seri to sleep with him. Srivali agrees, and in the evening she takes a bath and gets ready, then visits Pushpa and tells him about her feeling for him. Burning with agony, Pushpa goes with Srivali and beats the hell out of Jolly Reddy, whereas Keshav frees her father. At the hospital, Konda Reddy is desperate to get the name of the person who has beaten his brother, but nobody knows anything and Jolly is refusing to say anything. Pushpa and Keshav are in a room counting notes, and Keshav is afraid about the incident with Jolly. Konda Reddy enters the room and it's uncertain whether he heard anything suspicious. Later they go to a jewelry shop to collect the hawala money, when a maid tells Keshav that last night Konda Reddy heard everything you said about beating his brother. Keshav immediately pages Pushpa about the danger, but it's a little late. Konda Reddy men catches Pushpa and beats him when suddenly Srinu's men starts firing from far, and in that crossfire Konda Reddy dies and Pushpa escapes several times. At the end he kills Srinu's brother-in-law while in call with him. Next day at Konda Reddy's last rituals, many big names including Srinu and MLA had come. Srinu asks for the body of his brother-in-law and tries to turn syndicate against Pushpa. Pushpa drops all the money at MLA's feet and tells him that Srinu is only paying 25 lakh while getting 2 crores from Morgan, and offers to provide bigger sums and better service than Srinu has ever done. MLA agrees with Pushpa and makes him the main operator of the syndicate. Govind resigns because Bhujanga lost his life because of him, and Berev Singh Shekhawat took his place. Pushpa goes to visit him and make some common ground with him. He gave Shekhawat 1 crore rupees, but he starts counting it, makes Pushpa's men count it all again, and insults Pushpa again and again until Pushpa address him as sir. Until now we have never seen Pushpa flinch, but now it seems he has softened up and listens to every word of Shekhawat. On the day of Pushpa and Srivali marriage, Pushpa was nowhere to be seen, but he was drinking along with Berev Singh Shekhawat at the mountain top, and reminds of all the time Shekhawat has insulted him, his mother, his wife and also his father. He takes Shekhawat's gun and shot at his closed fist. Taken aback, Shekhawat is speechless. Pushpa asks him to take off his cloths and Pushpa does the same, reminding him that all he is because of the uniform he wears, and without the uniform even the police dogs will not recognize him. Saying that, Pushpa starts his bike and rides away and reaches to his marriage where everyone close him up. Whereas on the other hand the police dog barks at the Shekhawat and he shoots the dog. He brings out all the cash and burns it, and starts laughing hysterically. This concludes the Pushpa Part 1. Please like, share and subscribe for more movies.